All right, perfect. Looks like I'm here. I'm back. I'm ready to go. All right, welcome to the Stolen Show, everybody. I'm John Anderson, and I'm founder of Stolen, the network that exposes corruption, pedophiles, corrupt child protection workers, child abusers, just any and all corruption. You name it, you got it. That's it. This is the Stolen Show. All right. Anyway, let's get started with the Stolen Show because I got a special guest who's going to be coming on with me. His name is Pete Geary. All right, founder and president of Bikers United Against Child Abuse in Australia. All right. And we've been working together and doing a lot of things since 2009. But anyway, I'm going to save the rest of the introduction for when I come back. So, hey, stay tuned. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Now, my guest today is going to be a cool guest, man. I've been friends with this guy since 2009 when I first started Stolen. I ran into this guy, and I ran into this guy, you're going to end up finding out throughout the series of these videos and how this whole epidemic of, you know, pedophiles allowing use of the internet and so on is huge, huge. You don't even know who you got as a pedophile as a contact. You don't know. You don't know. And every country's laws are different when it comes to convicted sex offenders and accessing the internet and so on. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get Mr. Pete Geary, founder of Bikers United Against Child Abuse, on the phone here. From all the way in Australia. All right, let's see here. Now, I really hope I can. Oh. Hey, Pete. How's it going?
G'day, mate. It's going really good, buddy.
What you doing?
I'm driving at the moment, just returning back to Brisbane. Just got the load off up in northern New South Wales.
Oh, wow, that must be fun.
Yeah, it's beautiful today. Sunny, sun shining. Not much traffic on the road.
Yeah, I know. That's good.
How you been? How you been, buddy?
So far, so good. Getting everything's
Excellent.
everything's been going good. Still getting numerous attacks by my lovely haters, but hey, who doesn't have those?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, somebody's got to hate somebody, don't they?
Yeah, it comes around, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, seems every time you turn on the internet these days, it's hate everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That's very true, my friend. So how's you're also fill everybody in on who you are. Tell everybody you're also the founder of Bikers United Against Child Abuse, correct?
Yeah, mate. I'm the national president and the founder. I founded in 2001. We saw a need to advocate for victims of child abuse and their families. I just thought, well, when I ride a really nice Harley Davidson, why not use the appeal of riding the Harley Davidson and the lifestyle of the being a biker to support kids that have had to deal with abuse in their lives. You know, and, it's worked pretty well. And of course, you know, those of us that stand up to help victims of child abuse, we then become victims of pedophiles and pedophile rings, and you know the corrupt system that doesn't want that advocacy or that help to get out into the community. They rather it will be hidden. I think the main thing is, John, that you know all of us are workers. We all go to work every day, what we do is we volunteer, you know, like if we've got spare time, we volunteer our time and get out in the community. And a lot of the support is taking time off from work and going into the court system with the family. You know, as you probably know, when a family has to face the person that abused their child, they got to sit in court and listen to the sordid details, and it's very intimidating, you know.
Yeah, it can be very scary too, listening to those types of details in a court case. What happened to your kid and all the yeah.
Yeah, and the shocking details, it's bloody horrible. But yeah, I've been to quite a few sessions in court where we've sat with the family, and the judge has always noted the fact that there's been leather clad bikes in his courtroom, not acting in an intimidating way, but just acting as a support for the family, you know. What people don't realise is that when these pedophiles and their organisations and their rings and whatever, and all the people that support them, when they try and destroy groups like ours, that's what they're trying to destroy, is that help that we give to these families. That you know, they really call out for help. There's no one else. And once the police have charged the criminal, the pedophile, that's it. There's no support out there whatsoever. So we help out. You know, probably a little bit of help, but that's what we do.
You know what's really scary though is about a lot of people that are even watching this video, they're gonna know that they don't know how many pedophiles are actually allowed use of the internet. Legally allowed use.
Yeah, say that again. Don't they know how to use it? I mean, unbelievable how they know all the secrets, how to infiltrate groups, how to put out viruses, to put stuff into your computer to see what you're reading, how to associate with known corrupt or unethical police officers. I mean, they've got it all sorted, you know.
Oh yeah.
So that's the sort of battle that we face. As you know, you and I, we've worked together for nearly 10 years now, and we just about know every trick in the book, and they've taught us. They're the ones that have taught us how all the tricks there is, and how to infiltrate people's lives and destroy them.
Yeah.
You know? So,
like, here's an example. In Canada, after 10 years, if a pedophile stayed clean, a registered sex offender, he comes off the registry. And did you know that he can start an organization, get a charity started up, and there's nothing stopping him from doing it?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, maybe it's got to go through you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, buddy.
Yeah.
We don't let him go. I mean, the pedophile we're going to talk about today, John Aster, he lives in my state, my city. He lives in Arana Hills in Queensland, and he was actually allowed to start a photography business. And in our state, photographers don't need a working with children's check, and he knew that, and he portrayed himself as a person that's got police checks and all that, which is just a blatant lie. And I actually contacted the Department of Working with Children and made a complaint and said that he's a predator and that he's known well to the police for pleading guilty to downloading child porn, and he pleaded guilty to it.
Yep.
And why should he? Why can't they, the department, do something about it? And they said, well, their hands are tied. And I replied that, well, there's something, you know, we should do something about it. And so we contacted all the areas of where he was canvassing his business and just told everyone what he was doing, and we closed him down. I mean, but guys like him, who are serial offenders, they offend all the time. No matter, as soon as you turn your back, they're onto a different scam. And I think the only way, with the help of people like you and others, is to be aware of how they operate and never turn your back on them. Once you turn your back on them, you've just given the kids away to the pedophile networks and the rings that they operate. Now, you and I both know that John Aster was part of that pedophile ring called AXJ, Action for Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we actually seen how they used to peddle photographs of dead children to Middle Eastern countries, and they would start groups in the Middle East where they would swap all this crap, and we would contact the media, would contact the police, we'd contact the government, and nobody would do nothing. The only people that were doing anything about it were people like you and me and those supporters,
Mm-hmm. That's the truth. They wouldn't do anything. I just got told by a police officer I was talking to that they don't police the internet. There's nothing they can do. Unless it's actually, unless you're threatening to kill somebody, then they can do something. But other than that, there ain't nothing.
Yeah, for sure. But in the media, they'll say they do. In the media, they'll get up and say, yes, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but they're full of shit because they don't.
Yep.
I know that. And, what a lot of people probably don't know, I've sat in a courtroom probably on 20 occasions with this pedophile John Aster, and I've heard about all the crimes he's committed, and not once was he ever convicted, apart from the child porn, of the crimes that he's committed. And that's because he's an informant for the police.
That's right.
Because he did police.
With my experience in the past 10 years, if this guy, we've seen him getting away with so many cyber crimes and so on, and scams, proven scams, and nothing's happened to this guy, and it's obvious that he's given up something. He's given information in order to save his own ass, and that's what's given him all this protection.
Yeah, well, in Australia, we've got a government organisation called the Crime and Misconduct. It was called the Crime and Misconduct Commission. It's called the Crime. It's got another name now. They keep changing the name of it, but it's what it is. It's a governing body that governs the police. And on one occasion, me and an associate or another member, we went to the police headquarters to make a complaint about a certain detective that is very well known to John Aster, and we wanted to report him for being corrupt. And the guest sergeant at the headquarters took our complaint and then laughed at us, and my associate went off tap at him and say, hey, this ain't a laughing matter. The sergeant then went into a back room, and we noticed this room had one door and then one big black window. We all know what a black window is in a police station, don't we?
Yep.
So anyway, obviously he was making phone calls, and then he came back out after about 10 minutes and said, look, the detective is coming down to speak to you. About 10 minutes later, a detective came down from upstairs in the building and said, look, there's nothing we can really do about this. You're just going to have to write a letter to the station stating what your problem is with the detective, so on and so on. So, okay, no worries. We didn't get any help there, so we left. And while we were in the car on the way home, later that day, we noticed John Aster put up a post on Facebook telling all his followers about exactly what we did at that police station and who we spoke to and why we were there. And so I contacted the CMC and made an official complaint. And it took them long enough, but it took a month of doing an investigation on that officer. And they found that the officer had acted unethically and proved that he did make a phone call to the detective that we made the complaint about, who then made the phone call to John Aster. And repeated emails to the police ethical command. All I got back was we've passed on the information to the police station. That's where the detective is stationed at. And you know the detective I'm talking about, John.
Yes, because I made a complaint too. I think it's Dave Farley.
That's the one. And that there was no case end of that. But anyway, not to worry. You got to, you go down certain tracks trying to get things done, and then you come up against brick walls, and you just got to climb over the top of them and keep going, and that's what we've done.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I said, you never turn your back on this shit, mate, because once you do, it just goes further and further. I'm really proud of the fact that there's quite a few of us that just haven't stopped. We're not going to stop until this bastard's in jail.
That's right.
For all the crimes he's committed. And once he's in jail, I'll be a happy man, and so will all his victims, and there's a lot of them. And
potential victims are going to be kept safe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, John Aster usually targets single mums with kids between the ages of 8 and 12 years old. And
that's been proven.
Yep. And he uses a target on the internet to help him do his dirty work. Or he targets them, like, for instance, when he had the photography business up and running, he was targeting young girls off Facebook hairdressing and makeup sites. And he managed to get quite a few victims that way. But what he does is, one of the methods that he uses is to, like, for instance, I'll talk about how he took over Luke's Army. It was a Facebook group. It was an advocacy for parents that had their children taken away by CPS.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now they had 13,500 members. And the fight was started by a father, Michael Borosevich, who just happens to be John Aster's cousin. Now, these guys ain't looking at the group or what it does. They're looking at how many members it's got, because it's 13,500 members. Now, John Aster wanted that group, and he wanted them members so he could spread his propaganda. Now, he recruited a lady that lives in another state. Her name is Jules Zanetti.
Yeah, that's right. I ran into her today. I watched her. She's been posting a lot of stuff, communicating with John Aster. A very beautiful woman, but if she even knew who she was in contact with, my gosh.
Well, she knows. She's fully aware. I mean, we've exposed John Aster for what he is. He pleaded guilty to downloading child porn, and all these women say, well, everybody deserves a second chance. Well, not in my book. No way.
Not when it comes to sexual molestation or child abuse, shit like that, sexual abuse.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't change. Pedophiles don't become better.
No, they don't. They never will. In my book, they never will, because while the police don't take an interest or do their job in charging John Aster's committed that many crimes like rape, molestation, stealing, causing damage, cyber bullying, cyber stalking. Look, the list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah, he's done quite a lot of stuff. And for the amount of time that he's been online, it keeps adding up as each year goes by.
Absolutely.
I got to give credit, though. There's a lot of other people exposing this guy. More people are coming forward, making videos exposing him and his scams.
Absolutely. And good on them, too, because, there's a lot of people in the community that are learning a lot from John Aster, because he's got ways of dealing with, like for instance, I never knew what a Trojan was until I met John Aster, and that's because he was putting advertisement from YouTube to buy a application that you can use on your computer that will help you make money.
The AXJ Trojan virus. Yeah, it was a backdoor virus.
Yeah.
People can Google it right now if they want, and they can search it.
Yeah, and that's where I learned about VPN. Like you can
virtual private network, masking your IP address and so on, and accessing other sites. making like you're in other foreign countries.
Yep. Yeah, so I learned all about that.
And that's what I mean. So everybody that's listening to this, me and Pete Geary have both learned about this stuff from these pedophiles. We were clueless until we were trailing them for the past 10 years. We became very knowledgeable on how they work. Cops are even clueless. Clueless. They don't even know what to do to stop it.
That's right. Yeah, well, the amount of times I've been sitting in an interrogation room talking to the police about it, they haven't got a clue. I'm actually teaching the police what's going on. And just remember that anybody that goes to the police station to report a crime that's committed against them by John Aster, when that police officer punches John Aster's name into their police computer, a message goes off to John Aster's police, the person that is looking after John Aster, that another person is making a complaint. So then that officer then rings John Aster to warn him, a criminal complaint is being made against you. So when we go to the police station now, we have to say to the police, please do not put in John Aster's name from this complaint, because then there's not going to be any investigation, because John Aster is going to be warned about what's going on.
He's also protected by, he's also, claiming disability, mental disability, isn't he?
He's claiming he was in the army at an earlier age, and he was secretary. He was in the office, and but because he was in the army, he's claiming a post-traumatic stress disorder. Now he's blamed that post-traumatic stress disorder. He said it to me that's given it to him. He said it to you, John Anderson, that's given it to him. He said Judge DMAC gave it to him, and then he said Dr. Chalk gave it to him. So there's a lot of people that apparently gave him this mental disorder. Now, with this disorder that he's got, that he somehow scammed, he gets a government pension. I think it's $900 a fortnight, and because he's that sick, he needs a carer. Now, his carer is his mother. He's supposed to care for him every day, make sure that, that he's living okay, everything's okay. But guess what? She lives 1,700 kilometres away, and she receives a carer's payment from the government, which is, I think, about $600 a fortnight. So, which I assume John Aster would be getting. I mean, the mother would be passing it on then straight away. I assume that anyway.
Well,
so it's just another scam.
Isn't it against the law for this guy to be investing in Bitcoin currency and so on? Because that's been proven that he's been investing in this Bitcoin currency, cashing out on that, and claiming this disability pension in Australia.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, at one stage, he was also a taxi driver. He never told the department that he was working, earning a wage. If you go to one of our websites, there's about 20 scams. They're all legitimate scams that we've sent to the government that are supposed to investigate these scams, because they're all Middle Eastern or in Europe or Uganda, where he's trying to raise money to help people build a well.
Yeah, I remember the water scam, the water scandal. Yeah, I remember that one. That one was a bad one.
Yeah. Well, considering he was receiving funds for it, I mean, someone that was assisting him with that scam sent us a picture of a receipt from Western Union for $900, and she said there's plenty of them that have been sent to John Aster. Now, one of John Aster's victims, who he had living at the house for a time, has told us that the mother, John Aster's mother, Rosemary Aster, is also very heavily involved in the scam. In fact, that when she come and visits John once a month.
I heard that too. Somebody else, another source, was telling me that she does all the books for him and stuff of all of his scams.
That's right.
Adjusts the websites. Yeah. I also heard that she also This is just what I've heard, though, that she also shoots up drugs with a needle.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, she's got to be pushing 60 years old.
Well,
And
I've seen
I
drug
believe,
addicts older than that putting needles in their arms.
yeah, well, anyway, the victim told us that the mother is prescribed pethidine and that she crushes it up and shoots it up and then apparently really gets off on it. And then I found out that the mother was actually had an overdose and was admitted to the Cairns hospital. So, and that proved, you know, the informant that told us about that was absolutely genuine. So, you know, and John Aster pushes this agenda of having to report everybody for their drug use as a police informant, and yet he's one of the mates. He's a drug user, and his mum's a drug user, and his brother's a drug user. You know, so
I heard his brother's even a
others?
drug dealer, is what I heard.
He is a drug dealer. But John Aster's the first one to say no to drugs, but he's on them himself. So, you know,
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
too
makeup
bad.
of John Aster. Yeah, but anyway,
Well, what's really sad though
back
now
to
is that since 2009 up to now, this guy has gotten himself and his little minions involved with other frauds and organizations, and I've displayed that and explained that to you even just recently, and how he's touched into these other organizations.
oh yeah, for sure. You know, back to what happened to Luke Salming. It's now called Australian Children's Justice, and anything John Aster does when he commits these crimes and that, or he starts a website, it's got to have something with children to do with it, you know?
Yeah.
So what happened was he got very friendly with one of the admins, the trusted admin from this Facebook group, and because, of course, what John Aster does on the internet, he puts across a picture of him as some suave, rich, solicitor type of person. But in face value, when you're standing next to him, he's a tall man with ugly, very ugly, unkept features. He's fat, and
He just looks like an asshole growing teeth, brother.
oh yeah, but you know, he's got a stench about him because he lives behind the computer keyboard, doesn't wash, doesn't do nothing, and people that have lived with him, and I've spoken to quite a few, to say the place absolutely stinks of him, you know, not being clean. But anyway, he puts himself as some really suave dude on the internet, and he gets all these desperate single mothers that, you know, fall into his little web. And soon enough, they'll do anything they want. And even though, because I've became friendly with some, and I've asked them why. Why would you help him when you know he's a pedophile? Well, you know, everyone deserves a second chance, all that type of crap, you know.
That's the wrong kind of thinking right there. Right there. That's
oh,
wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck.
Yeah, but anyway, what happened was he said, look, this is what he made up all these claims about Michael being a pedophile and Michael being a rapist and Michael doing this and Michael doing that. And it just so happens that one of the admins had been with Michael for a couple of nights, and Michael didn't want nothing to do with her, really. I mean, he probably had a good time with her, but, you know, there was no future in any relationship. And she thought, oh, well, John Aster knew the right person to get to, and he got her. And she had the password for the website, for the Facebook page with 13,500 members.
Yeah.
And so she allowed John Aster to go in, and he changed everything. He took over the website and then changed everything and called it Australian Children's Justice. And that's when he got help with this lady called Jules Zanetti. Now, first thing Jules Zanetti did was assist John Aster. Now, if you remember back about 2011, John, when I was talking about how we lost www.vuaca.org.
Yeah, I was wondering how that happened. You ended up having that domain hacked from you or something.
Yes. Now I didn't know who it was, but I suspected it was John Aster. Now, we'd lost it and someone had bought it. Oh, well, not bought it, had taken it, and through GoDaddy. And then I noticed that the website was being pointed towards Chinese porn sites. So I immediately went to the police and told them it was John Aster who'd taken over our website. I talked to a representative from GoDaddy that said, yes, he had about 3 people supporting the domain name.
Mm-hmm.
So I reported it to the police. That was in 2011. And it surfaced again last year, early this year, when John Aster and Jules Zanetti posted graphic and allegations on the page that they'd hacked called Luke Farming from to Australian Children's Justice.
Were they? So it's what that sounds like is by them doing that, they pretty much are the ones that did it. My opinion is that they did it and then did it to spread some shit, lies about you, to try to discredit you and what you're exposing about John Aster. That's what he's done it to me. Do you remember when they were buying those domains and starting those forums, stolenbuakanow.forumotion.com, and that's what they do. But no real evidence is there. It's just them. It's just pedophiles trying to discredit those that are exposing them.
That's right. What happened was on this Facebook group called Australian Children's Justice, John Aster was posting screenshots of the complaints made to the cybercrime unit in Canberra that this website and Mr. Deary and AXJ need to be investigated for hosting a porn website. So,
you know, it's very common that the one who did it is the one who's going to try and look like the hero stopping it.
That's right, yeah. Now, John Aster did it under the name of Jules Zanetti. Now, Jules Zanetti put a big post on Facebook page about me and my members being pedophiles and rapists.
Yeah.
Lying scum.
I remember that.
But what Jules Zanetti doesn't know, since I've now found out she's a real person, because I originally thought she was fake.
Yeah.
But I found out she's a real person, and that she's defamed me and my organisation. Now, we're a registered charity. It is a crime to defame us, to stop us from what we're doing, because actually what she's doing is degrading the work that we've done over the last 16, 17 years, and also the support that we've given the victims. And she's actually part of the ring of pedophiles that rule out to destroy work that, like what both of us do, John, you know?
Well, obviously, so, if you're helping pedophiles, you know, you're obviously a part of the problem, not the solution. And that's what she's doing. Jules Vanetti, right. That's what she's doing. And that term is called pro-pedophile. When you willingly knowing that this person's got some convictions like that and you go ahead helping them, that's pro-pedophile.
Yeah, well, the fact is she's got a huge following. Now, I would like to get through to all her followers.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
This is what she's done. This is who she supports, right? And I want them to see that, hey, hang on a minute. I'm a truck driver. I earn up to $300 a day for working. Every day I work 12 to 14-hour days driving my semi-trailer. Now, for me to go to court means I'm not going to earn that money. So I'm a volunteer that's going to lose that money so I can go to court to support families that need our help. Now, what does Jules Zanetti do? She sits behind a bloody keyboard and does diddly shit. Nothing. But she will go out of her way to help promote a man that not only molested his own daughter, but he also downloaded 15,000 images of some of the sickest child porn there is, pleaded guilty to it, and got off with a non-conviction.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make sure that when you hear the words non-conviction, that doesn't mean it's not a conviction. It is still a conviction. It's just that it's a conviction in Australia reserved for elite members of society who like give up pedophile rings as part of the deal or so on. This conviction only shows up when John Aster applies for any jobs relating to children or families, right? Then the red flag
That's
comes
right.
up, right? So people are
You
just
bet.
have to educate yourselves on this stuff.
That's right. Now, that's why John Aster can never get a working with children check. In our state, it's called a blue card. I've had a blue card. In fact, I'm the employer with blue cards. I've actually signed off on about 300 applications. 300 people have got their blue card through me. Yet John Aster and his idiots want to put on the internet, I haven't got a blue card. Oh, we had his blue card taken off him. I've never had it removed. He tried, but he failed.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to believe a pedophile, you want to support that pedophile, you want to promote that pedophile, well then we, with the help of our associates worldwide, we want to expose you for who you really are. Now, you want to hide behind a computer and act real tough and spread false allegations, and soon enough, you're going to be stopped. Now, all the people that were involved in the takeover of Luke's army, they're pro-pedophiles. They're the ones that support children being abused and those like John Aster getting off scot-free.
Yep.
That's who they are.
Because there's no in between, and that's exactly it. I try explaining to people there's only yin or yang. It's either you're part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Doing nothing means you're part of the problem.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, doing nothing. That's what I call. That's when you turn your back on it and walk away. And a lot of people do that. You know, they just can't handle the pressure of being stalked or cyberbullied or what. I mean, exposing these frauds and these fake advocates that, you know, are trying to peddle books or peddle videos or whatever, you know. I mean, that's all they do. I mean, if you want to research me or you want to research John Anderson, just have a look. He gets out in the community and shows people what we do, how we do it, and then goes and talks to the scum that got off or got a lenient sentence for abusing kids, you know.
Me and you actually have proof that we go into the community and do things. These people and these fraud advocates, these pedophiles, pro-pedophiles and frauds, they say, but never provide any proof of doing anything other than even just maybe paying somebody to say, hey, go onto my wall and say that you helped me. Or say that I helped you and that I saved your life with your kid, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's what these fraud advocates are doing. Fake reviews, this, that. It's sick. And they're frauds, even if they're not pedophiles, they are knowingly helping convicted sex offenders because the money's too good. Donations are too good.
Yeah, well, you know, John, this Jules Zanetti with John Aster, they both were saying that us as an organisation, we had www.buaca.org printed on our shirts that we give to children, and saying that we were then stopping them children on motorbikes, and they were both claiming these children were victims themselves, and we were taking pictures and promoting them. Well, that is a flat-out lie. One thing BUACA doesn't do and never has taken pictures of children that were sexually abused or physically abused and then used them to promote the work we do. That is a big no-no. We've never done it. But John Aster and Jules Zanetti and others like them that want to say it, they're the pro-pedophiles out there. They're like the wolves, the sheep in wolves' clothes, you know, or the whatever, that want others to believe, to sort of be able to really get in amongst the vulnerable, those that they can make into victims, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's just never ending, buddy. And people have to understand that when people like me and you go out exposing sex offenders and these child abusers and stuff, hiding behind these umbrellas that they create, it's common sense that we are going to be attacked. We know we're going to be attacked. We know we're going to have lies posted about us. But hey, at least we're the strong ones who keep going, taking the attacks, and for 10 long years.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what people need to know is that pedophiles like John Aster and his friends at AXJ and that, they specialise in making up making up crimes to go to the police.
Mm.
And it really helps that John Aster's got a friend who's very high up in the police that can make crimes and write out different charges and that, to the fact that they actually came to my home and arrested me and charged me with crimes that I didn't commit, claiming I was stalking John Aster. And I was taken down to the police station and they took my DNA and fingerprints and put me in the cell for a couple of hours and let me out. And it was a big scare campaign. I mean, they raided my home, went through everything. And 12 months of mentions and committals and the trial, when it came to the trial date, they dropped all charges. They wouldn't even let me go into the court and talk to the judge so I could expose the corrupt cops and John Aster for what he's done. Now, I know you've got evidence of this, but a lot of the evidence that John Aster uses is he'll download videos or audio transcripts and that.
And he edits
and he'll edit them. Yeah, he edits them and makes things sound different. And then he'll offer up the evidence that they had on me was everything was manufactured by John Aster.
Yep.
And
he attempted to do that to me by phone call and email to my police here in Canada too, but he failed every attempt he tried.
Yeah, so he should. The fact is, then a lot of people don't know is that at the same time he was trying to get me for stalking. He came to my home at 3 o'clock in the morning. I owned a place where I was with my children. And he poured acid all over my car and stole a part of my boat that was parked in the front of my house. Now, he had an elderly lady with him in the car that was parked up around the corner, and she didn't know what he was doing until he had done it, and then he told her, which actually what he did was he planned to do that because he didn't want to know it until it was done, because then she's an accessory. And
exactly.
After a couple of weeks, this lady who was living with John Aster and was his carer went to Ferny Grove Police Station and made a complaint that John Aster was the man that did it, and police at Ferny Grove did nothing, absolutely nothing. And there was an investigation going on through another police station, but Ferny Grove Police did nothing. It was only when John Aster tried to bash this elderly woman and the police came and visited his house and escorted her from the home that she contacted you and admitted everything to you, and you told me. And then I contacted her, and then she made another statement to the police in the state that she was with, and bingo, John Aster was arrested. But the charges only lasted about 6 months because John Aster managed to persuade the judge that the main witness had made death threats against him. And she hadn't, but you know, because it was a recording that she had made with you, and he had just chopped it up and edited it to make it sound like that she wanted you to find someone to kill him.
Uh-huh.
So with that evidence, the judge ordered that the police investigate it, which would have been easy, and then they would have seen that John Aster produced evidence at the court that was edited, which is perjury, right, upon the court, but the police did nothing. Now, it went to 2 mentions in the district court, or magistrate court, one of the two, and each time the judge asked, have you got that evidence yet? And the police, which were Ferny Grove police, said no, and the case was dismissed. That's how he got off. So it was very well planned. It was very well planned, but, you know, that's what happens when you're a pedophile. That's when you're a criminal and you've got a mate who's a senior police officer that helps you get off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another brick wall. We've jumped over that. We got way past that now, and we're on to now exposing methods that John Aster uses, like, for instance, the Jules Zanetti idiot that wants to defame us, and the idiots like that are defaming you at the moment, they don't know nothing about what you've gone through in your life.
No.
And
They're just looking really. Those people look really dumb.
At the end of the day, they do, but it's the end game. Because at the end of it, they're the ones that are sort of saying, oh, well, we use the police, we use this, we use that, we use this, and nothing works. I just got to accept the fact that I am a fraud, I am full of shit. You know, that's what they are.
That's what they are.
You know, and that's the end game.
And it's so funny because they phoned my police, they took a recording, and then that one lady, Jerry, she asked the officer, has he been convicted with anything? And the officer's like, no. And they actually uploaded it on YouTube even. And so, wow. Just wow. And they're all working together.
Yeah, well,
all these people, they all work together. It's one big money scheme. People who are trying to fight for their children, or also trying to fight against a pedophile that they found out they were with that was molesting their children. You know, they're targeting these people, using their stories to profit on, to reap in the donations, to write a book about. Signing any contract with them, you're signing your life away.
That's right. It's always at the end of their story is a PayPal account or a Western Union account. You know.
That's all it becomes.
Yep, that's all it becomes. You know, I know a lot of people are inspired enough to write a book about their experiences and all that, and then they get behind a computer and a keyboard and they stuff it all up.
Yeah,
it's no credibility once you're behind that keyboard.
It's like it all goes to their head, and they start thinking that they're some famous book writer, and they just.
That's it. Yeah.
And they glorify themselves, start telling little fairy tales to the people who start following them, reeling them in more. Oh, yeah, it's just pathetic.
Yeah, well, we could all write a book, but I mean, if you're going to sit down and write a book, how are you going to get out there and help the people that you say you advocate for, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, advocating means standing there and assisting, not writing a book about, the experiences that you went through. I mean, if you got time for that at the end of the day, do it. But I mean, you know, all I can see is a lot of infighting and a lot of slanging and a lot of allegations. I mean, how did they come up with this, John Anderson's a pedophile bullshit? You know?
I don't know,
man. I mean, Jesus.
A pedophile has to call the guy who's exposing them a pedophile. It's the only ammunition they got. Think about it. What else are they going to do? Call me a hamster?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll call you a pedophile in one word, and then they say, John Anderson's spouting up about some guy called John Aster, and then saying they don't know nothing about him. Yeah. Well, geez, mate, if you don't know what John Aster's done, then you haven't really done your homework, and it's really important that they know what he's done.
Yeah.
Because that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Never like John Aster. You know, he's the most brazen pedophile I've ever experienced in my life. Brazen meaning he doesn't care. He's one of these guys who just doesn't care. He'll go on to the next victim, to the next victim, to the next victim. We'll keep reporting him to police and to all the other authorities.
And keep recording more and more evidence against him, because we even have his own words admitting to pleading guilty to these 15,000 images of child pornography. I've got the police recorded saying that he pled guilty, got a non-conviction.
Yeah, well, listen, John, I've got to make this short now because I'm just about to enter a tunnel and I'm going to lose you.
All right, we'll pick up again another time. I'm sure we'll have more of these to go.
For sure, brother. I'll talk to you again soon.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, buddy. Have a good day.
Yeah, mate.
Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is, of course, Pete. That's right, Pete Geary of Bikers and Against Child Abuse, founder and national president. That's right, very good guy. And we've been, like he's been saying, we've been working since 2009 exposing this stuff. And like he just said, these people like calling us pedophiles and all this sort of shit because it's their only ammunition, and there are a lot of fraud organizations out there, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to pay attention, you know. You can see my other live videos where I'm with the police and so on, exposing these fraud advocates, convicted sex offenders, and so on. There's other videos that prove what I've done. If you go take the time to actually search, do your homework, you will find video of me exposing sex offender like Tim Newman, who actually admitted to molesting a girl for 10 years to my face. His excuse now is God's forgiven him and so on. And I told him, you know what? I don't forgive you, and I never will. And it doesn't matter. To me, you're once a pedophile, always a pedophile, and you're going to be exposed. That's it. You know, it comes down to awareness. And I always think with logical fact. If you don't, here's the example. This video right now that you're watching is an awareness video. When you don't share this video, or you just bypass the video and don't do anything about it, you don't share it to help bring awareness, you're a part of the problem, not part of the solution. And that's what it breaks down to, is logical fact. And I live by these facts, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been explaining since 2009 about this gentleman. You can take the time to Google and do your own research on this gentleman. Other organizations and patriots are moving on and forward and exposing this guy, John Aster, for his child pornography conviction and his scams. Let's not forget about the scams, right? And he's got himself dipped in other organizations, which I've just recently also exposed on previous shows. So, ladies and gentlemen, hey, I want to thank you for watching, and I want you guys to stay safe because you guys don't get it. Me and him have been doing this since 2009. We see how dirty the network is, the social media. We know how they work, how many fake profiles each individual pedophile creates. And now, you got to remember, too, that these are just exposed and convicted sex offenders, all right? What about the ones that still have yet to get caught? That's a higher number than the ones that have been caught, all right? We're talking about 3, 4, 5 times that amount. It is a huge number, ladies and gentlemen, okay? You don't know who's on your friends list. So, it's best to stay aware now, isn't it? Anyway, again, thanks for watching. I'm John Anderson signing out. Have yourselves a good night. Oh, yeah, that's right. I wanted to bring a little warning to everybody, too, before I go. Where is the outrage? Pedophiles are celebrating pedophile pride. All right. Now, stay tuned for my next show where I'm going to be going a little bit more into a little bit more detail about this and how, like we said, me and Pete were talking about how John Aster's really brazen, very blunt pedophile. And you know what? A lot of sex offenders are becoming very blunt and brazen. They're fighting to have pedophilia classified as a sexual preference, just like gay, lesbian, and so on. And what we want to do is we want to keep that from happening. All right, because in no way is that a sexual preference, and it is not definitely it ain't a fucking correct sexual preference. And we got to start doing things about it. And so pedophiles have altogether picked up a day called Pedophile Pride Day. You know what? We got to put a stop to this. All right, so we're going to be exposing that. And when I come back on my next show talking about this, I'm going to be explaining about how they have different symbols of necklaces, rings that they wear to try to differentiate or try to find out if somebody else, another person involved or has the same likenesses and being involved with children and so on. You're going to find out about this. So whenever you meet somebody that has these types of symbols on their body or on their ring, jewelry, you're going to know what they're into. So make sure you do stay tuned for my next video, right? It's all about awareness, people. Thanks again.
Welcome to Stolen, Strength Together Over Legal Empowerment Now. Your host, John Anderson, is back with new shows, rants, special guests, and much, much more. Exposing corruption while giving the people an outlet to have their say on any and all corruption experiences they may have encountered in life. Please feel free to subscribe and share our shows in hopes of helping others know there still is and always will be hope. Join the club at www.stolen.club.